Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. How are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got a heck of a show for you today, and I am very, very excited. Savannah Hernandez, friend of the show, investigative journalist, Frontlines TP USA. She's going to be joining the show at 10:35. She was in the room when the Epstein binders were handed out. Yeah, she was there. We spoke at great length last night, and I think you're going to really enjoy the conversation. That's happening at 10:35. I had low expectations yesterday for the Epstein stuff. I think I made that abundantly clear. That keep my expectations low so that way the disappointment won't be high. And boy, am I glad I did. Now I'll be honest with you. When I saw the binders coming out, I got just as excited as anybody else. Like, holy crap, is this actually happening? And then, my day continues, and I had some meetings that I was in with Turning Point, and then, I got to be dad. And by the time I checked back in on Twitter after I'd put the kids to bed, I was like, oh, that didn't play out the way we thought it would. And it turns into one of the biggest debacles of the Trump administration thus far. A lot of blame to go around. And I'm not angry with anybody in the entire situation. And I think that there's still a lot that can be fixed relatively quickly. We'll see what happens this morning if AG Bondi gets the rest of those documents. I think the majority of the blame is going to go on her feet. But the release or the lack thereof, it doesn't make me angry. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. And I think that cuts a little bit closer to the core. And I'm annoyed with all the characters in this story that dominated yesterday in one way or another. I'm not angry. I wouldn't say I'm angry, but the main characters, the influencers, Pam Bondi, Trump, yes, I am annoyed with all three of them for certain reasons, and some more than others. I don't necessarily put the majority of the blame on the influencers, and there's reasons for that. Pam Bondi and Trump, I think, do deserve more of the blame. The influencers, this wasn't why they were invited to the White House. And I've had numerous conversations with people close to the White House meeting and people in the White House meeting. This is not why they were invited. They weren't invited at all. And I think they're honestly, the influencers are the least to blame in all of this. And I also don't think anybody should be surprised when online influencers do influencer things. And I'm not angry with Pam Bondi, though I think the mess that we saw yesterday and becoming that bigger situation is mainly in her lap. Like 100% mainly in her lap. She built up so much hype in that Jesse Waters appearance. And I have to think, you knew all the information that became apparent very quickly yesterday while you were in that studio doing the news hit on Jesse Waters. Also, not a huge fan of the AG doing news hits. I'd rather you just do AG things. But, that's a story for a different day, her doing news hits. But what are you doing on Jesse Waters? Are you gaslighting us? Are you not telling the truth? What was that about? I mean, I could be wrong. But she seemed woefully unprepared for this situation. Woefully unprepared. And then Trump, I mean, he's the boss. Trump is the boss, right? Like, he should know what's going on. He was in the room with the influencers as well. And he should know what his people were planning to do. Now, we're going to put a poll up on the YouTube channel. You can go watch us on Super Talk TV. Like it, hit subscribe, do appreciate it. But the poll is, who deserves the blame for the Epstein binder debacle? Is it Trump? Is it the influencers? Is it Pam Bondi? Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. My vote is for Pam Bondi. Second place is Trump. And then the influencers down way at the bottom. Like, I'm not even sure if I would put the influencers on the list. Who's to blame? But you had this influencer meeting at the White House, okay? They didn't go for the binder. They went for something else. They had a summit, so to speak, a 3-hour agenda, a long day planned by the White House. This is the first group of influencers that are doing these kinds of summits. This is not going to be the last group of influencers that are doing these kinds of summits. And I think that's important to make sure that is very, very apparent. This was the first. This is not the last. You're going to see more of these kinds of meetings. And I think it's good. I have no problem with these meetings. I don't. So they weren't there for the list, okay? They had a full agenda, and that agenda was for around 3 hours. And the White House is going to be doing this with other influencers. And then based on multiple accounts of what I've heard, who I've spoken with, and what's been posted online, this is what I gather, okay? They're in there for the summit, right? And they're told that they're going to get a surprise. They go, oh, a surprise? Like, what could this be? Boom, in walks Bondi and Patel. In walks Bondi and Patel. Now, the influencers knew that there was going to be some big names there, like J.D. Vance was there, and they knew that J.D. Vance was going to be there speaking to them. But Bondi and Patel walking in shocked the group because, like everybody else, they had heard what A.G. Bondi said on Jesse Waters' show the day before. And like everybody else, they were built up by the hype machine from A.G. Bondi, and then subsequently online, everybody was hype. So they see Bondi and Patel walk in. Bondi tells them up front, there is really nothing new in these binders. I want to clarify that one more time. Before the binders are handed out, Bondi tells the people in the room, there is really nothing new in this binder. There's no smoking gun. There's no bombshell. There's nothing new. Except for one detail. And that detail is that it become evident that members of the FBI had been withholding information from A.G. Bondi. That's the only new thing. So again, I go back to Attorney General Bondi. Did you not know that they were withholding that from you a mere 12 hours before while you're on the news with Jesse Waters? Did it shock you? Like you had to have known. Why didn't you come out and make that case to the American people live on TV? Again, that's a ding on Bondi. Let's be perfectly clear. So they say there's nothing new in the binders, except for the fact that it has now become apparent that the FBI, the SDNY field office, is withholding information. Now, there's been a letter circulating around from Pam Bondi and to Kash Patel saying, we demand this information by 8 a.m. today, which I haven't seen the information. I haven't seen confirmation that the information has been received, but that's what the letter said. The letter that has been circulating online was in everyone's binder, okay? It was in the binder. And that's been confirmed from multiple people that were there in the room and have held and seen the binders. The letter that's circulating online was in the binder. So you have all these influencers that heard A.G. Bondi on Jesse Waters the night before. They're told they're getting a surprise. Kash and Bondi walk in. They're shocked. They're explained there's no new information. And during the meeting that can transpired thereafter, a lot of these influencers, I'm told, are trying to be respectful. Nobody's really thumbing through that binder in real time because they were there for another purpose. And when you've been invited to the White House, I mean, they had everybody there. RFK spoke to him. Rubio spoke to him. J.D. Vance spoke to him. Like, I don't know about you, but whether or not I have this binder in my lap, if I'm a guest at the White House, I'm not going to be disrespecting Vice President Vance or Secretary Rubio or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. by thumbing through a binder while they're trying to speak to me about something that they think is very important. I just wouldn't do it. So they couldn't digest what's in the binder. They couldn't really dive in, but they knew there was no smoking gun. Now, throughout all of this, okay, so this has just happened. Before they could even digest what's in the binder, people start speaking, and boom, in walks Trump. Nobody knew Trump was coming either. So now they're like, holy crap. And I know from a couple people in the room, there was a few of them that it was their first time meeting Trump, and they were like, wow, holy crap, like, this is dope. Then Trump gets them, they takes them to the Oval Office. It's like, whoa. I've heard from multiple influencers and accounts that some of them were just like deeply moved to even be in there. Just like, they said it's a moment, and it's hard to describe. But it's like you have all these people that have been, and I know quite a few of these individuals. Like, but you have all these people that have been fighting so hard to get Trump back in office, to expose truth, to combat the narrative of the left. And like, you've essentially reached that mountaintop. Like, now you're in the Oval Office with the president of the United freaking States. Like, whoa. It's like a lot going on. It's a lot going on. In the Oval Office, ton of cabinet members. You got the CIA director, you got the FBI director, you have the AG, you got Rubio, you got Vance, you got RFK Jr. Rubio's talking about foreign policy. RFK is talking about $9 billion that's been saved by Doge at HHS. RFK, actually, this is something that's pretty cool. RFK told the influencers that he's going to be focusing on making baby formula healthier and bringing European baby formula into the United States, which I don't know if you pay attention to the baby formula stuff, but like that's a massive deal. He also talked about RFK to these influencers and journalists that were there. They're not just influencers, but he said, we have health guidelines that's 400 pages. We're gonna be simplifying that to 3 and focusing on whole foods. So it's like just trying to give you the full scope of the massive amounts of information that are being hurled at these people. They're just walking around like, floating. They're floating through the White House. Let's not mince words. They're just on cloud 9. And I don't blame them one bit. I would be as well. So they go through all this. They leave the Oval Office. They say, okay, we're going to go over to Vance's house, and then we're going to explain kind of the rollout that we're going to do for the Epstein information. Okay, cool. Got it? Everybody says, yep, let's go. As they're walking outside, boom, they walk right into the reporters there over on the West Wing. 30 to 40 reporters, I'm being told, cameras, etc. Now, the reporters are staged there because Keir Starmer is there, the UK Prime Minister, which there's a lot to get to from that yesterday as well, which I don't want to bury the lead, though. So the reporters are there for a completely different reason. There's a good chunk of influencers who see the camera, and influencers are going to influence, and they essentially ran to the cameras. Not a good look. Smiling for those pictures, not a good look. Now, hindsight is 2020. You have to understand that a lot of these individuals were probably downright giddy after what they had just gone through at the White House, who they had just met, the information that had just been handed to them. I think that explains a lot of the smiles. I don't think that it's a good explanation. You're holding binders with evidence from child sex crimes. Like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look to be smiling. And I think anybody that was smiling in those pictures, they're fully aware of that. They're fully aware of the optics. Trash optics. Let's be perfectly clear. But they still hadn't even had time to dig into these binders. They still hadn't even had time to process everything that they had seen. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't have been smiling too. Like, I might have been perma-grinning from everything that had transpired. I don't necessarily think I would have ran to the cameras, but walking around with a huge grin on my face after what these guys had just been allowed to do at the White House, like, yeah, maybe, possibly. But they were asked not to post anything until after a press conference that was supposed to happen later in the afternoon. So what I'm told is that the original plan was that we're giving you this information. We're going to be making this public about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern time via a press conference, and then it's all going to go online. Well, clearly that didn't happen. Clearly a mess ensued, and it was clean up on aisle 7 the rest of the day. Those plans were scrapped. Now, this is a fail. Let's not mince words. This is a fail of epic proportions. This is a fail for Trump. This is a fail for Bondi. This is quite the fail for some of these influencers. I say some, not all, but some. And mainly the ones that are getting dragged are the ones that are smiling in the pictures. But I will say this. It's a fail right now. It can be cleaned up. And I'm going to give them some grace because I hope that it'll be fixed, and I hope it will be fixed soon, like today. Now, again, maybe today is too quick. But I want information on the Epstein files in the next 7 days, or I want a new attorney general. Can we go on record and say that? Get the damn job done in the next 7 days, or get a new attorney general. We talk a lot about accountability in this administration, and what we're witnessing is the biggest fail so far. So put your money where your mouth is. Accountability. Either hold the people that did these crimes accountable, or hold your attorney general accountable. Mr. Trump, President Trump. I think that's what we all want. This is a fail right now, but I think that they can fix it rather quickly. And I hope that they do. I hope that they do. If they don't, I'll be the first one to drag them with you. A lot of people expected a full release, or at the very least, something of significance. What we got was a non-release, essentially handed to a handful of people. Huge misstep. Huge misstep. And I think the majority of the blame goes at the feet of Attorney General Bondi. A lot of stuff's coming out about Attorney General Bondi. A lot of people poking holes in her background. Rightfully so. Did you know that she was the Attorney General in Florida throughout the entire time that the Epstein crimes were going on? That's weird. That's interesting. I wonder if this kind of a flub would have happened with Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. I don't know. Just asking. It's a hypothetical. Maybe. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe it would have been a worse flub. You know, we don't know. But there's a lot to get to. And we're going to have somebody that was in the room today, Savannah Hernandez. She's going to be joining the show at 10:30 to break down exactly what was happening in that room, and I'm very excited for that conversation. I got more on the holes that are being poked into Pam Bondi's background when we return. It is 9:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. My friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they want to save you some money. Do you need to replace your heater? Now's the time to do it. They are clearing out their 2024 inventory to make room for the 2025 inventory, and they're passing the savings along to you. For just $6,997, you can get a 14-SEER 1.5 to 3-ton split heat pump model, and you'll also get a smart thermostat bundled in if you're one of the first 25 customers to take advantage of the deal. Maybe you don't need to replace the system. Maybe you need to maintain the system. Well, Busy Bee's here for you with that, too. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling can take care of your systems. All you got to do is join the Beehive Club. It's just $99, and it comes with so much value. 3 annual tune-ups, 10% off all repairs, front-of-the-line service, $100 annual accrued replacement credit, and no overtime holiday fees, and exclusive Beehive member promotions. How about this? All February long, you buy one Beehive Club membership, you get another one of equal or lesser value for free. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, are your kids' schools still operating under DEI? Well, now you can report it to the federal government. Also, we'll tell you how to get free dental care over the weekend. Those stories and more coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 928 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So we're talking about the Epstein binder blunder that happened yesterday. I think most of the blame falls at the feet of Attorney General Pam Bondi. I do. I think they can fix it relatively quickly, and I hope they do. A lot of people in the YouTube chat, if you're watching over on Super Talk TV, we have the most red-pilled chat. Oh, and on the text line, asking, what about Kash Patel? Doesn't Kash Patel deserve some of the blame here? I get where you're at, and I would say, yeah, partially, but I think that's very low. Patel's only been in how long now? Days? Still doesn't even have his team in place. And Attorney General Bondi, she was the one that hyped this up, not Patel. She was the one that went on Fox News and said, essentially bombshells coming. She could have gone on Fox News and said, the FBI stonewalling us. I'm sure she knew that information already. And anybody with half a brain would know you got 200 Epstein documents. That's not all of them, bro. Like, until you see videos and you see pictures, because his houses were wired for that you don't have everything. So it's got to be fixed. I'm curious to what you think about it, though, and I want you to join the conversation. 615-737-9986. We'll take some of your calls on the way. Plus, don't forget, Savannah Hernandez, who was in the room when the binders were handed out. She's going to join the show at 10:30 and break all of this down. Really excited about that bird's eye view, and grateful to Savannah for jumping on. I hit up a lot of people I knew in that room. I got some responses, but Savannah's the one who said, yeah, I'll come on the show.
She
No
brought
problem.
the receipts.
She's bringing receipts. I love it. Sav will be on the show in about an hour. We got a lot to get to. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Some late morning delays on 24 westbound at the Antioch overpass. There's a crash there. It's on the right shoulder, and the right shoulder is blocked off. A lot of attention being given to it, so pretty slow on 24 in that area this morning. This could be the final day at work for the federal employees who accepted the Trump administration's buyout offer, one of the first steps taken by Elon Musk and the Doge team to get spending under control.
The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country a $2 trillion deficit.
Just yesterday, 800 workers at NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, were let go. The Trump administration has launched an online portal that allows citizens to report DEI practices in public schools. Comes just before the expiration of the 2-week ultimatum for schools and universities to dismantle their DEI programs or face funding cuts. That portal asks for complaints about discrimination based on race or sex in K through 12 public schools. Those schools could become targets for investigation. You can find that portal at ndei.ed.gov. Meharry School of Dentistry is offering a free dental clinic tomorrow for the community. They'll perform cleanings, fillings, and extractions starting at 6 o'clock in the morning at the Meharry Medical College School of Dentistry. This is for adults and for kids. They say no insurance or ID is required. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
.937 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? Chris Hand here. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. Woo, what a 48 hours for our Attorney General Pam Bondi. It was all good just 2 days ago.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded good until it didn't, because we didn't see any new information being released. The only new information that became completely apparent is that the FBI is as corrupt as we thought the FBI was, and the SDNY FBI field office is withholding information from the Attorney General. So what do we do now? What do we do now? Well, I hope Kash Patel goes in there and fires every single FBI agent responsible for that. I hope Pam Bondi looks into criminal charges of some sort. You're withholding information from the AG. But I also want to be perfectly clear. She knew about this when she was on Jesse Waters. She knew they were stonewalling her. She probably already had those binders printed out. Where are you at? Like, why didn't you go on Jesse Waters' show and say that? Instead of building up this hype machine and then falling flat on your face. It's disappointing. We got a poll up on the YouTube channel. Super Talk TV is live there. Hit like, hit subscribe. Who do you think deserves the blame for the debacle that was yesterday? Is it Trump? Is it the influencers? Is it Pam Bondi? My vote is Pam Bondi. Right now, she is leading with 66% of the vote. Influencers with 20. Trump at 14. That's surprising me. I thought the influencers would be third place.
I did too. I was in that same boat, but
a lot of this has to fall at the foot of the president. That's his AG. Those are not his those are not his influencers. We got a lot of people want to weigh in on the conversation. I appreciate you guys. As Murphy would say, Matt Murphy, our friend and radio buddy, Matt Murphy would say, turning the monologue into a dialogue. Mike in Nashville, what do you think, man?
Hey, Chris. That's the reason why I listen to your show, because you call it like it is. I listen to some other shows, and they're trying to beat around the bush. I'm very disappointed in Pam. Nobody forced her to go on that show the night before and say that there was going to be some Epstein information. So either we got two scenarios right here, Chris. Either somebody is holding her back from giving out this information, or what's even worse is that she had these files and didn't look through the files herself to see that there was information that we already had, and that's even more embarrassing if she had these files and wasn't even smart enough to look at them before she came out and said there was going to be some Epstein information. But I'm very disappointed, and I'm disappointed with Donald Trump, because they said that this was going to be a new government with transparency. We was going to know everything that happened. Remember Trump said we was going to know about the UFOs, about the lights, and then he said we was going to know about the Kennedy, MLK. We still don't know any more information about these things. Donald Trump, he needs to get on the job. You know, he's doing a hell of a job with the immigration, but he needs to get his attorney general and the FBI on the same page so the American people can get the information that we need. Hopefully this guest that you have at 10:30 today will give us some more information. But I'm very disappointed, because I at least expected, I didn't want to see the whole damn list of names of these individuals at Epstein's house. But we should have got some kind of names. We should have got some new names on this deal. And like you said before, Donald Trump, one thing that I've told people, and I think I told you this before, Donald Trump and Cass Patel, they need to clean house. Nobody from the Biden administration with the FBI should no longer be employed. I'm surprised Elon Musk hasn't got rid of all of them already, because this is ridiculous to have this type of information. It's been over 6 years since that man died, and we don't know no more. We don't know no more now than when the man died in his jail cell 6 years ago. And I'm very pissed off, and I'd like to hear what you had to say about that.
Hey, I'm with you, Mike. I appreciate the call. I think we've learned more about Epstein from the underbellies of the internet than we've learned from any official outlets, the FBI or the mainstream media. And it's embarrassing. You mentioned Pam Bondi. Did she not look at the information? I think she did. I think she did. I think she knew. And I don't know why she lied. Was it why did you lie? I think she absolutely lied. I think she lied. I think she lied on Jesse Waters. There was no bombshell coming. Now, she told the influencers before she handed out the binder, there's no bombshell here. There's no smoking gun. There's no real new information, except for the fact that the FBI is stonewalling us. You're telling me you didn't know that the night before while you were on Jesse Waters' show? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't think she's dumb, but a lot of people are starting to point out her track record, and there's a lot of questions being raised about Pam Bondi. Now, I don't know if it's relevant, but you got reporters out there going, well, Pam Bondi's a Scientologist. Okay. I don't know if that's relevant. I don't know if it's true either. Pam Bondi used to be a Democrat. Before 2000, Pam Bondi was a Democrat. I saw that a lot of places, and I'm like, okay. But there's a lot of people that used to be Democrats, right? And honestly, in Florida, the overwhelming majority of the state used to be Democrats before 2000. So, like, okay, take it with a grain of salt. But the one that keeps coming up that I'm like, oh, is there something to this one? Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida the entire time Jeffrey Epstein was raping young girls in Florida. The entire time the sex trafficking ring was happening in Florida, Pam Bondi was the Attorney General. Is there more to that story? Inquiring minds want to know. Bobby in Nashville on Pam Bondi. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Chris, I always say you guys do a fabulous job, man. I always want to point that out. Yeah, I think Pam came out a little too early to tell everybody what was going on. If she wasn't going to say anything or let anybody know, she shouldn't have brought it out and said she was going to release something.
Yep.
She should have. But then again, I'm thinking she might have looked at some stuff and said, I spoke too soon. Somebody's in there. Their name's in there that we don't want to get out. And also, I want to ask you about the guy, the FBI guy up there in New York. I mean, this dude acts like he's above the law, this FBI guy. He's going to do what he wants to do. And I want to run one quick thing by you. It's not something to do with this, but when you guys are watching the State of the Union address next week, keep an eye on Nancy Pelosi and make sure she doesn't get up and try to tear the speech up like she did during Trump's first term, brother.
Yeah, we won't have to worry about that. We won't even have to stare at her because it'll be Mike Johnson behind Trump. But you will have to worry about Nancy slowing things down as she gets into the chamber of Congress and with her walker. It always takes long for everybody to get in there. It's going to slow things down even more. Thanks, Nancy. There is a letter floating around that Attorney General Pam Bondi has sent to FBI Director Kash Patel. And a lot of people are saying, well, Kash deserves some blame. Kash is still so new. I don't want to put a lot of blame on him, and I like Kash a lot. But the letter was included in the binders. The letter said, by 8 a.m. today, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio, and video recordings, all materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. This is to Kash Patel. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with law, as I've done my entire career as a prosecutor. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. People need to be fired over this. I think 14 days is too long. I think 14 days is way too long. But she knew. She knew all of this when she was on Jesse Waters' show. She knew. So she lied. That's not a good look. People talk about the optics of the influencers smiling, and I explain that to a certain extent. I think the optics of your attorney general going on Fox News and hyping people up and not exposing the truth is far, far worse. Luke in Shelbyville. What's up, Luke?
Okay, I got a quick question. I'm in the FBI 100%. It's a little early to be throwing her under the bus just yet. She just got off not too long ago.
But if you have a binder with 200 documents, like you or I could look at a binder with 200 documents and say, that's not everything. That entire house was wired for video and audio. There's no way this is everything.
Oh, yeah. That place is smart. Oh, definitely.
So why go on Jesse Waters and just churn that hype machine?
I think, like the last guy said, I think she jumped the gun and then found out that there is no new information except what they already had. And then that's why she was like, hey, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning on my desk. And they didn't do it. So they disobeyed a lawful order. So
but going on Fox News, but
15 and demoted.
But that would have been the perfect opportunity on Fox News to go on and say, I'm being stonewalled by the FBI. I'm directing Kash Patel to go in there and find out why. Like, that's what you do. And I feel like there was a lot of PR at play here. And I think that the original idea was that they were going to turn a lot of the anger towards that FBI office. But everybody's really more disappointed in Bondi right now.
Well, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Y'all have a great weekend.
Hey, I appreciate you too, man. And I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt as well. Like, listen, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And to be perfectly honest with you, this can be fixed very, very quickly. If we get actual information today, tomorrow, early next week, all of this will be forgotten. Make no mistake about it. People have very short memories if we get real information and actionable items within the next couple of days. If this stretches out any longer, she's got to go. She's got to go. If the FBI isn't going to respect the Attorney General, then those FBI officials need to go, and that Attorney General needs to go too. I'm sorry. If she doesn't fix this, she's got to go. Cody in the borough. What's up, Cody?
Chris, you said 14 days is too long. I just can't wrap my head around it, though. If there's evidence out there, we know they're not turning over, they're stonewalling. Why wouldn't the FBI go in yesterday, last night?
Yep, I'm with
raid
you.
them and grab that evidence. I can't wrap my head around it.
Well, and I hate that it's being posed as like, oh, she just discovered that they were stonewalling her. It's like, how did you just discover that? Like, you should have known that already. Yeah, they should already be raiding that office and getting all that information. And then it also goes back to a lot of the rumors that we're hearing on the internet that a lot of this evidence is being destroyed. And it's like, is that the case? And what evidence is being destroyed? It actually brings a lot more credibility to that theory. 14 days, it's a lot of time to destroy evidence.
I mean, to write a letter and say by 8 a.m. I need this on my desk, and it's almost 11 in D.C. How is it that journalists aren't standing outside of Pam Bondi's office? How is it that it's 11 a.m. in D.C. and we still do not know if our FBI is complying?
Yep, I'm 100% with you, man. We need to know. There should have been a press conference already. There should have been a press conference confirming that she has it on her desk or doesn't have it on her desk, and then tell us who's responsible. But there wasn't.
Last thing, and I'm almost done. Just this event in itself, I'm almost done. But yesterday, I don't know if you saw Trump's post about the Gaza Trump resort or whatever,
yes.
Some AI video.
Yes, I did see that.
I know he's about trolling and all that, but for all this to be going on, this is the Republican Party. Trump's putting out videos like that, and we're in the middle of an internal civil war right now. And then, I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know how I'm supposed to support this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really care about the video. I thought it was funny. But I hear you, internal civil war. I feel like we've been in a cold civil war for years now. And things do need to change. Things need to change quickly. But, yeah, Pam Bondi, I mean, as far as the Epstein stuff goes, it's an absolute mess. Now, if you want to see the contents of the Epstein binder that was handed out to the influencers, I have several links up on my Twitter page at Chris Hand on Air. So you can go over there, hit the follow button. You scroll down my timeline. There's several people have posted this, and you can find the documents to download yourself. Again, nothing new. No smoking gun. No bombshells, no explosions, nothing salacious about any world leaders or politicians. The only thing that we learned yesterday is that Pam Bondi blew it on Jesse Waters 2 days ago, and that the FBI is just as corrupt as we thought the FBI was. Kash Patel has a massive job in front of him. We got a lot more to cover. More of your phone calls on the way, 615-737-9986. And Savannah Hernandez, who was in the room when the binders were handed out, will be joining the show at 10:30, 10:35-ish, right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The threat of tariffs gets a positive response from Mexico, and springtime severe weather, well, it may be getting underway sooner than we were thinking. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The current knee status of Mexico?
Yeah.
Bent.
Total.
Joan's got the news coming up. We appreciate her when she does it. My name is Chris Hand. Ed in Florence, Alabama. Ed disagrees with me on Pam Bondi. Disagreements go to the front of the line. Ed, what's up, man?
I love being in the front of the line. That's the way to go.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
So I listened to the interview that Jesse Waters was doing with Pam Bondi, and I understand your frustration. But just like most lawyers do, there were caveats in there of possibly, maybe, hopefully, see that stuff tomorrow. So I get it. I understand the frustration. We've waited a long time. But if you listen to what she says, she's not wrong.
But my issue isn't the caveats, right? Right. You can absolutely make the case that she built up the hype machine with a statement. My issue is the omissions, because she had to have known that the SDNY FBI field office was withholding information at that point. Sure. She had to have known that she was going to be giving those binders out the next day. Like, those were probably already printed and ready to go. And she left all of that out. She had an absolute opportunity to go out there and say, the FBI, the SDNY FBI, is withholding information. And she didn't use that opportunity. She did use the opportunity to get the hype machine rolling, though.
Totally understand, and I would agree, with that. I think it's a little bit, or in my opinion, I think it's a little bit early to give her pink slip.
That's fair. We have a long, and I appreciate your call, Ed, but we have a long history of, Jeff Sessions is going to get it done. Bill Barr is going to get it done. Pam Bondi's going to get it done. And I just have no patience for these people that say they're going to get it done and then don't. I got no patience for that. None. So maybe it's too soon. I'm not mad. Just disappointed. More of your phone calls on the way. Plus, we'll dig into this a little bit more. There's so many angles. Did you see what the House Judiciary GOP tweeted yesterday? What a bunch of losers. I'll show you. Well, we'll talk about it when we return. It's 10:01 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It appears Mexico is trying to head off the Trump administration's threat of imposing 25% tariffs on all Mexican imports. Mexico has just sent a drug lord on the most wanted list back to New York City.
1985 torture and killing of federal drug agent Kiki Camarena was one of the darkest moments in the DEA's 50-year history, exposing Americans to the violence of the Mexican drug wars, even becoming a storyline on the Netflix series Narcos. Now, under pressure from the Trump administration to act against the cartels and with tariffs looming, Mexico is handing over a former drug boss convicted of masterminding Camarena's murder. The DEA has been waiting 40 years. Now Rafael Caro Quintero is finally here. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, Brooklyn Federal Court.
A federal judge ruled the CIA and Director of National Intelligence can fire 51 DEI hires after their roles were scrapped by President Trump. The Washington Post reports these former employees have no recourse either. They're not allowed to appeal to civil service boards, and they may not transfer to other jobs in the intelligence community either, because agency rules allow the director to fire employees without any recourse. Meantime, a different federal judge found the Trump-Musk mass firings of federal probationary employees likely unlawful.
A federal judge in San Francisco grants a temporary stop sought by labor unions and other groups in a lawsuit. U.S. District Judge William Alsup orders the Office of Personnel Management to inform federal agencies that it had no authority to order the firings, and orders the head of the office to testify in court in 2 weeks. The judge says the Personnel Office does not have any authority under any statute in the history of the universe to hire or fire any employees but its own.
ABC's Chuck Sievertson there got a heads up about possible severe weather early next week. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro telling us we'll get rain for sure, but the latest National Weather Service forecast is showing an increased confidence that some of the storms could be strong or even severe.
While there may be a couple of rain showers heading into Tuesday afternoon and into Tuesday evening, the wettest time and the highest risk for severe weather is unfortunately going to be right into the middle of the night. So that is going to be an overnight severe weather threat for us, maybe between about midnight and 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Now, this morning is 4 days out, and things certainly could change. So keep it here, and we will keep an eye on that system that may be headed our way. That's the latest news. We've got your weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:07, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Love those guys. Call Craig, call Brandy. They'll help you get your water tested for free. BetterWater.com. You know why you need water filtration systems, don't you? I think you know.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
BetterWater.com. Just a palate cleanser. Just a palate cleanser. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So massive misstep out of the administration yesterday. No matter how you slice it. I got people on the text line, and they're saying, hey, what are you doing? Pat texted me. She's a member of the Red Pilled Moms Club. We love Pat. But she said, whose side are you on now? What good can come of trashing the administration this way? So I got to be fair. I got to be honest. And if it makes me upset, I'm sure it makes a lot of people upset as well. She said, I'm a supporter of yours. Just think, once you say it, you can't take it back. And I appreciate your support, but a fail is a fail is a fail. And if I don't call it out, and if I'm just a cheerleader all the time, then there's no credibility there. So we have to call out their missteps. And this was a massive misstep. Here's what went down, okay? Attorney General Pam Bondi dumped binders on some influencers and some journalists and some people that I know personally and respect. And she released a set of documents, Epstein phase 1. Epstein phase 1. So there's going to be more phases, okay? But there was nothing new in there. There was nothing. There's no smoking gun. And the hype train started rolling the night before on Jesse Waters. The night before on Jesse Waters, she could have told us everything we subsequently learned about the FBI field office in New York withholding information. She didn't. She didn't. The influencers didn't know that this was going to be part of the White House visit. They had no idea. They were going for a completely different reason. And they ran into that photo op by mistake. At which point, influencers are going to do influencer things. And when you look at those photos, at least for me, the more important thing as to who was in the photo was who wasn't in the photo. Because there were a lot of people that weren't in that photo that were there. I mean, there were a lot of influencers there. Just to name a few, we had DC Drano, Jack Musobic, Libs of TikTok, Savannah Hernandez, Scott Pressler, House and Habit, Liz Wheeler, and just to name a few. There's like 15 people there. A few of them ran to the cameras. Bad optics. Terrible optics. But Bondi and her office knew that there was nothing in these binders. She was hinting at revelations on Jesse Waters. I know there were caveats baked in the cake. She gave herself an out, but she was hinting at it. Bondi should have just issued the letter that was in the binder that we've seen circulating on social media, saying that she demanded all that information from that FBI field office on her desk today at 8 a.m. She could have announced that on Jesse Waters. And then she wouldn't have even gotten those people that were at the White House for a different reason involved. Maybe they thought that this was going to be good PR. It blew up in their face. It absolutely blew up in their face. And we want answers. Children were raped by powerful political individuals. Epstein ran a sex trafficking ring where children were raped. We want some info. The longer we don't get it, the more the conspiracy theories take hold. We need all the information. Pam Bondi came out and blamed the FBI. We've seen the letter going around. But now there's legitimate questions about Pam Bondi and her background. She was the attorney general in Florida during the entire time Epstein was doing these evil, unspeakable things. And let's be perfectly honest. Epstein was running a blackmail ring. Now, for what purpose and for who? Those are some of the main questions that we need. For what purpose and for who? Was it for our own CIA? Was it for the Israeli Mossad? Was it for another foreign government that hasn't been discussed? Who was it for? Who was it for and what was the purpose? These are answers that we demand. And if Attorney General Pam Bondi can't get us the answers that we demand, then maybe we need a different Attorney General. You know, so often in these Trump administrations, we're like, we get a new Attorney General and we're excited. Trust Sessions. Remember Trust Sessions? Trust Sessions. Oh, Bill Barr will get it done. And then we found out Bill Barr's dad hired Epstein to work. It's so weird. It's so weird. Bill Barr, our last Attorney General under Trump, his dad hired Epstein to be a teacher despite no teaching background. That's a weird connection to Epstein, isn't it? And then Pam Bondi has her own weird connection. She's the AG of Florida during the entire time that Epstein is committing these crimes. Now she's our AG. Are we shocked? Again, I kept my expectations really low to avoid disappointment. Still a bit disappointed. I'm disappointed with the rollout, and I feel like it's a massive fail. Kash Patel is vowing to swiftly pursue those who undermine the FBI after Attorney General Bondi revealed the FBI and New York office is withholding Epstein documents. He posted a nice long tweet, and he said, the FBI is entering a new era. This is Kash Patel. The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. That is the statement from FBI Director Kash Patel. I like Kash. I don't think a majority of the blame falls at his feet. I think the blame falls at the feet of Pam Bondi. Where do you think the blame falls? We have a poll going on right now over on Super Talk TV. We're live on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. The poll, where does the blame for the Epstein binder debacle, who deserves it? Is it Trump? Is it the influencers? Is it Bondi? Trump, the influencers, or Bondi? Right now, Bondi is leading with 67% of the vote. Influencers have 20%, Trump 13%. I do feel like Trump should have a bit more of the blame than the influencers. Personally. I do. He's the boss. He's the boss. Betty in Hendersonville disagrees with me about Pam Bondi, and I appreciate you holding, Betty. Why do you disagree with me? And I appreciate you disagree with me. Tell me.
Well, first off, I want to tell you that I am a big fan of you, Chris Hand, and your show.
Oh, thank you.
I love the perspective that you bring. And as far as I'm concerned, you are the brightest star in the current lineup with WTN. So,
all right, perfect. Now get to the disagreement and tell me why I'm dumb and wrong. Let's stop making me blush.
I think you are pulling the trigger a little quick on the whole "she needs to be fired, she needs to be gone" thing, because you have to, in order to bring to light the people that are causing issues, you have to do something to bring them out, right? Yeah. And I think she deserves the time, whatever, some time at least, to be able to straighten this out. And, she needs to work closely with Kash Patel, and as you pointed out, he has not been in there that long.
Yeah.
So this is something that needs to be a coordinated effort. If there's a misstep, I think that perhaps, even though there's a hue and cry for the information, I think she should have waited until Kash Patel had time to get in there and dig into it with her a little bit. But even with that, I just think that saying she needs to go is just a little bit too soon. Just a little bit. I think that's just a little bit.
But don't you think, do you at least agree that the most likely scenario is that she had all of this information available to her when she went on the Jesse Waters show?
I'm not sure about that. I really am not sure. Possibly, but I'm not 100% convinced,
I think it's a hot. I think
that she did, and she stonewalled it or hyped it and shouldn't have, then she needs to be disciplined for that. But I don't think we have enough information yet, I guess is what I'm saying. I think we need to get things sorted out a little bit better before we say, off with her head.
I hear you to a certain extent, but I think there's a high probability, like an overwhelming probability, that she had all that information while she was on Jesse Waters. And I think that she could have created as much urgency by putting that information out immediately right then. Now, again, I think she can fix this very quickly. I think she can fix this within a week. But I do. I'm just so tired of attorney generals under President Trump being like, whoa, this is the guy that's going to get the job done. This is the girl that's going to get the job done. And we all get hype. We all get excited. And then it's just letdown after letdown. Every attorney general Trump has had has let us down. Let's not make any mistakes about that. Jeff Sessions was a letdown. Bill Barr was a letdown. And now we have Bondi, who is, a month into the gig? And this is a massive blunder. It's a stain on the administration. And if she doesn't right the ship and get us this information, I do stand by that. Get rid of her. Get rid of her.
But don't you think that some of this is the long-term depth of insidiousness that is layered into the FBI and perhaps even the DOJ? Don't you think that there's at least a little bit of that?
I
'Cause
do.
And
I
I
do
want
think
you to
that
know,
I do think that there's.
absolutely think that all the things about Epstein need to come to light, because everybody who's still around that was involved in that needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, whoever the crud they are.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm with you 100%. I don't care whose team they're on. They need to be prosecuted. But I just with Bondi, I'm like I just feel like you absolutely had that information the night before on Jesse Waters, and you could have done that. You wouldn't have brought in those influencers. They wouldn't be dragged over that. And it just feels like a huge misstep. And then you talk about the insidious nature that's inside the FBI and inside the DOJ, and then I just go to, okay, well, why was Pam Bondi picked? Bill Barr's dad had a weird Epstein connection. Attorney General Bondi was the AG of Florida the entire time the Epstein crimes are going on. That's a weird connection. Maybe it's nothing, but it's just another weird thing. And this seems to me like this is just a long pattern of attorney generals that Trump is getting in there that just fall flat on their face.
Well, I see where you're coming from. I do. I guess I didn't have great expectations with Barr or Sessions, honestly, either one. I really did not have the highest expectations of them, because I looked at the history of everything that was done, starting with Clinton in the Department of Justice and the FBI, because I have friends that have retired from the DOJ, and it's going to take time to undo all the mess is all that. And I don't disagree with anything you're saying as far as, did she have a connection? Hey, dig, find out. I want to know, because if she did, then her name needs to go on the list to be prosecuted, period.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Betty. Thank you so much for listening. Jeff in Nashville wants me to stop whining. What's up, Jeff?
Dude, I got to tell you, I love your show, but you are killing me today, bro. Listen, real quick. You have seriously whined for 40 minutes and repeated the same crap over and over again. This chick has been there for 30 days, bro, and because you didn't get the info you wanted in 3 seconds, she's a blemish and a stain and the biggest blunder. Bro, there's got to be better things to talk about today. You're killing me, bro.
What? Okay. Is anything I said wrong? What did I say that was wrong? Oh, Jeff hung up. I don't think I said anything wrong. I think everything's been pretty factual. I mean, have you been paying attention to the news cycle? It's like this is bad. It's not a good look for the administration. Yes, she's a blemish. This is a blemish. It can be fixed. It can be fixed very quickly, but the clock's ticking. It's 10:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
He's no victim. Metro Nashville police are looking for a guy whose shopping bags were stolen from him. And it appears New Mexico police are narrowing their focus as they try to figure out the death of Gene Hackman. Those stories and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 25 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In 10 minutes, Savannah Hernandez, Frontlines reporter, friend of the show, good investigative journalist. She was in the room when they handed out the Epstein binders yesterday, and she's going to be joining the show to give us that bird's eye view into the room. Now, I do think this is the biggest news story of the day. I'm seeing reports online that Kash Patel may or may not be sending FBI agents to the SDNY offices right now. I've seen it from a few accounts. I don't know how confirmed that is. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. But they were supposed to send that info to AG Bondi. So if that's the situation, it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Or if you got a question for Savannah Hernandez, feel free to drop it in the chat over on Super Talk TV on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe while you're there, or text it in 615-737-9986. Jay in Spring Hill, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Jay? Hey, Jay. All right, I'm going to put Jay back on hold. Let's go to Marie in Nashville. What's up, Marie?
Yes, hi. I agree with you 100%. I keep up with the news exactly like you do. She has the power. She's not using it. She could kick everybody's rear, absolutely, and she's not. And she absolutely has all the power in the world to do it. She's not. If she can't do this, she's got to go. We got to get somebody else in there that can do it. This has to be exposed. There's tons of evidence everywhere, and she definitely has the power. So, Chris, you're exactly right. Don't worry about all these other people that think you're whining. You're not.
No, like any kind of reaction is good. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I love it when people disagree with me, but I appreciate your call, Marie. I mean, listen, the reality of the situation is that we thought we were going to get something good, and we got absolutely nothing. I got a text here, 1949. Hey, Chris, I don't like the way things went down either with the files, but I think we can all say we have bigger fish to fry in this country than worrying about the Epstein files. I mean, yeah, maybe we have bigger fish to fry, but this is absolutely something that needs to get handled. And let's just, the harsh reality of the current state of the administration, there have been 0 arrests of anyone in the government or any millionaires, billionaires since Trump took over. None of the people on the Epstein list are being arrested. You can make the case that there's open treason happening in places in the government at some of these offices. No arrests. You can make the case that, yeah, he's doing a good job on the border, but I mean, the deportations have been low. Okay, we're not getting rid of the millions of illegal aliens. We need to get rid of more. And as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, no Chinese nationals have been arrested in ICE raids. Like there are bigger fish to fry. I agree with you, but they made this the main focal point of the conversation with the flub yesterday. And people demand answers. People have wanted answers for a long time. I got statements from some of the people that got the Epstein binder. The best statement that I saw was from Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler was there, and he said that the 200-page binder, not a smoking gun. The documents that these are the documents that the FBI gave to AG Bondi. He said, however, Bondi sent a letter to the FBI director. We know about the letter. But he said, to be clear, the FBI is withholding information and hiding information on the Epstein files. They're withholding information from the Attorney General. So either she can't get it handled or people need to be fired. But Scott Pressler says the fact remains AG Bondi and FBI director were not given all of the documents concerning Epstein. They weren't. They say that this is the most transparent administration in history. I wish they would have told us this information while Bondi was giving her interview on Jesse Waters. That's how you show me that you're the most transparent administration in history. This just feels like another kicking the can down the road. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing. Matt in Fairview, real quick, he thinks I'm missing the point. What's up, Matt?
Yeah, dude, they've been there 45 days. You need to calm down. What you need to focus on, Chris, is the purple buses that drive around empty in Nashville. Now you can go wait for one and get stabbed while you're there. And I don't know how much Nashville's spending on that crap, but Fruitcake Freddy got to go.
Okay, you think the focus should be on Mayor Freddie O'Connell and not Pam Bondi?
No, just these damn purple buses. I don't know how much money did they spend on that crap. They just approved how much for that, and you can go there and while you wait for one, you can get stabbed to get on an empty bus. This guy's got to go. Get rid of him. Keep it local, bud.
All right, buddy. I appreciate the call, Matt. Yeah, getting stabbed is not fun. I can tell you from personal experience. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we get back, Savannah Hernandez joins the show. She was in the room when she got the Epstein binder. We'll talk with her about that next on Super Talk.
10:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A man once thought to be just a victim of theft has turned into a murder suspect. Metro Nashville police saying 31-year-old Genesis Denton was robbed of his Louis Vuitton bags in the parking lot of the mall at Green Hills earlier this month. The robbers hopped into a Tesla and took off.
Denton, police say, followed that car now onto the interstate and fired shots at the car. Well, the driver, Emmanuel Easley, was hit. He crashed into a tree and later died.
Channel 4's Holly Thompson there. Police say Denton was driving a rented Volvo SUV that day, and they're still looking for him. A homeless man hit by a train in Madison early this morning. This happened near Due West Avenue and Gibson Drive very early, about 5:15 in the morning. That man was walking near the tracks when he was sideswiped by the ladder of the CSX train as it passed by, breaking his arm. He is expected to be okay. In a case making global headlines, two brothers charged with sex trafficking overseas are back in the U.S.
Notorious influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate touched down in a private plane in Fort Lauderdale, raising questions about how the brothers charged with human trafficking were free to fly to the U.S. from Romania after a ban on their travel was suddenly lifted. The brothers have denied the allegations against them, casting themselves as victims.
ABC's Victor Okendo there. Now, reporters, including Okendo, have been attempting, without evidence, to tie the Tate brothers' freedom to President Trump. New details about the death of actor Gene Hackman.
Authorities say they found no signs of foul play, but they're not ruling it out. Detectives now looking into carbon monoxide as a potential cause of death. The gas company also investigating. But officials say the couple could have been dead for quite some time. Their bodies already decomposing when they were found, signaling that deadly gas could have vented through the open front door.
ABC's Trevor Alt. That's the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
1037 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Really excited about our next guest. She's friend of the show, Savannah Hernandez, investigative reporter for Frontlines TPUSA, and she was in the room yesterday when the binders were handed out by Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Phase 1 Epstein binders. Savannah, welcome to the show.
Hello, Chris. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing? It seems like a lot of the people that were in that room are getting dragged on X. And how are you doing?
You know what? I think overall I came out of this pretty unscathed because
I would
tried
agree with
to
that.
take the let me just tell the people the truth route, which I've always done. So overall, I am fine with how the response has been to my, portion of this content. And also, too, like immediately as we begin this interview, this meeting was not set for this purpose of us getting these binders to disseminate information to the American public. This was a surprise to everybody, and nobody knew that Pam Bondi was going to be doing this.
So what was the actual purpose for the meeting? And when were you invited? Like, how did that process go?
Sure. So honestly, Chris, I don't really get invited to anything, so I thought that the email was a scam. So
It's a
I get this
Nigerian
email
prince.
last
Look
week.
out.
Seriously, it's funny because I get the email and then I put my social security number in and I was like, oh, I probably should have checked the email first to make sure it was like actually a .gov email. My friends and I were laughing about it.
That's
It ended
hilarious.
up being legit, but I get this email last week and it's like, hey, White House comms would love to invite you to a meeting with, Caroline Leavitt, J.D. Vance. And essentially what this was allowing independent journalists like myself, content creators, various people who are a part of the United States of America to come and have direct access to the administration. So it was actually a really cool concept and something that the Trump admin is going to be doing moving forward. I'm trying to bring everyday Americans, people who have been actively involved in really shaping the country, boots on the ground, those of us on the front lines, and are going to be brought in to have direct access and talk to J.D. Vance, Caroline Leavitt, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, RFK Jr. directly, ask questions, give them ideas on how they can make the United States better. Maybe some things that they aren't privy to because they're working on a million other things. So that's what the initial meeting was actually about.
So when did this kind of all blow up, and when did you go, oh crap, this is going to be a much larger deal than I thought this meeting was going to be?
Absolutely. So I think this blew up. It was funny because we were in the Roosevelt room. We were in the Oval Office. I believe that's called the West Wing of, the White House. And as we were making our way over to the vice president's office, there's a little press pool area. And we were told in the press pool, hang on. Let me recount all of these events and make sure I tell you guys this correctly. We were told after we walked past the press pool, hey, make sure you guys don't take photos of these binders or make them public until after our press conference in which we are going to be releasing all of this to the American public. Now, prior to that, Pam Bondi had already stated that she didn't feel that this was a smoking gun, that people within the FBI are withholding many of those Epstein documents, and so she's working on that. But then she also did come out and say that by 8 a.m. we should have had those files. I've been trying to scroll through X. It was a long night last night, so, maybe those did drop. But as far as I've seen, nothing has dropped, and she was on Just the Waters on Wednesday night saying that there will be a big drop. But, there was really nothing new in these binders. So the big debacle happened when people were photographed with them, and this narrative was constructed that we were given these binders to disseminate the information to the public, which is why I kind of came out and immediately wanted to dispel those rumors because, when I got the binder, my first immediate thought was this is information that belongs to the American public and to everybody, not just a select few.
Yep.
So I didn't even post about it, and I didn't want to. I honestly, Chris, I wasn't even going to post about it at all because I was like, great, this information's coming out, awesome. The binder's cool, great, but, I'm not really going to do anything with it because once we all have access to the information, then the real work begins. But again, the damage is done when the press poll got some pictures of this, and that's what happened.
So did you hear why they canceled that afternoon press conference? Because that press conference, I've heard from multiple people that there was supposed to be a press conference in the afternoon. They were going to release all this information to the public, and then it never happened. That just never happened. Do you know why that never happened?
My thinking is that there was supposed to be a press conference, but because Bindergate happened, we'll just call it that.
Bindergate.
And all of this controversy started. I think they canceled it. They were trying to wrench damage control. I don't want to speak on behalf of the Trump admin or the White House. Again, I am just giving you guys information that I received, so I was not told why it was canceled. So this is only my guess that it is because of all of this controversy that happened, and also the fact too that there was already at that point a lot of public anger over the fact that there really was nothing new in these Epstein files.
Do you think it was a mistake for Bondi to go on Jesse Waters and essentially start churning up the hype machine when she may have already known that the FBI was withholding information from her, and she may have already had these binders ready to go? It seems like this is a massive misstep from Bondi.
Absolutely. And you know what, Chris? That is, I think, one of the most important parts of being a real journalist is calling people out in the admin, maybe even if you like the admin. And that's what I'm going to do right now. This is a huge misstep on Pam Bondi's side. She should not have gone on Jesse Waters. She should not have hyped this up if she did not have the list on her desk like she alleged to. So again, we all know that there's a lot of work to be done within these various intelligence agencies across, our entire government, because there has been decades of rot and left-wing operatives that are really embedded. But that's not an excuse. If you are the Attorney General and you are speaking on behalf of the president, then you need to have your stuff in order, and you need to make sure, especially with such a high-profile case such as Epstein, these are documents, this is information that the American public has been waiting decades for at this point, that people want justice and accountability for. So Pam Bondi absolutely dropped the ball on this. And again, from a journalist perspective, when I did get the binder, I didn't know, like I said, I was like, I'm not going to post this. This isn't information that belongs to me. This information belongs to the American public, and it should be on a PDF accessible to all of us.
Yep. Is there anything in the binder that you kind of were like, whoa, I didn't know that?
No, there's nothing breaking. There's nothing new in it. The binder that I have right now, everybody does have access to that. All of those files have since been made public, not only by, the influencers who were given these binders, but also by the DOJ themselves. But this is nothing new. Bondi herself stated that phase 2 of these files is where we will see that information that we've all been waiting for. But again, the hype around this needs to stop until it is verified that we have this information. And quite frankly, I don't think it should even be released in phases. We are living in the age of information in which we have some of the most competent people on X right now who know how to use AI and can take these documents, scan through them. We the people can get done what we need to get done with these documents. We don't need it released in phases. We need it released in whole by our Attorney General immediately.
Oh, completely. Crowdsourcing the information is the way to go, and we've seen that be a benefit to the American people time and time again. Now, you kind of jumped into my next question. If this is phase 1, did she give you a timeline on phase 2? And is there a timeline on phase 2 if we know that we don't have all the information? And how does she go out there and say she makes it seem like, oh, I have all the documents, but she knew that she didn't have all the documents because she didn't have the video, she didn't have the audio.
Yeah. So what we got as well on top of this binder was the letter that she put out, and this letter was made public yesterday, basically addressing Kash Patel, saying, "Hey, the FBI needs to have all of these documents on my desk by 8 a.m." Again, I understand that there's a process to how these things go, redacting the information to make sure that victims involved in this case are protected. That is a very important thing. But at the end of the day, she didn't give us a timeline. I know she's working on it right now. And again, if I were her, I would just come out immediately to the American public and say, you know what, I messed up. even if she was unaware and does feel like, oh, the FBI lied to me, they didn't give me the files, and I thought this was all of the files, then she should come out and say that. This is the most transparent administration in American history. I mean, we have Pete Hegseth, we have, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance getting on X every single day, or Truth Social, and speaking to us directly. And I think Pam Bondi should do her own damage control and do the exact same thing. She could very easily fire up her phone right now and say, you know what, guys, this was a debacle on my end. These were the missteps, and this is why this happened. I apologize. This is what I'm working on right now, and this is the time frame.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that Pam Bondi didn't know that she didn't have all the information, especially when she went on Jesse Waters, because, again, she didn't have the video. She didn't have the audio. Anybody that's paid attention to this case even a little bit understands that the homes were wired for audio and video, every single home, and that the FBI has all that information. So how can she go out there and say, oh, I didn't know? And is there an opportunity for Bondi to recover after this, or is she going to be another lame duck AG a la Sessions or Barr?
You know, Chris, I will be honest, and I do feel like this, even though it was a first misstep, it was a huge misstep, potentially, career ending. A lot of Americans are mad, and the way that I gauge things, the way that I take my analysis away from the world is by looking at the American people and what they are saying, what they are feeling, and people are not very forgiving about this at all. They're very angry. They're not happy that, a potential photo op was created out of such a serious situation. So, in terms of moving forward, does she recover from this? Time will tell. I'm feeling like unless the Epstein files in their entirety are released today, I don't think that the American public is going to be very forgiving or forget anytime soon what happened. And again, you know what? I also think that this is a good thing, Chris, right? Because immediately we're barely a month into, or maybe a little bit over a month into the Trump administration. And this is the level of accountability that each member of the highest levels of his office have to face. So if anything, this just goes to show how much power we, the people, have in being able to really hold anybody's feet to the fire if they make these missteps. Whereas over the last couple of decades with politics, it was kind of just like, well, you guys can't tell me what to do. You guys can't touch me, and the mainstream media is going to run cover for me. That way of living is no more.
Do you feel like on some level that the people that were brought into that room and handed binders were used like pawns by this administration?
Chris, you're killing me today. So you know what?
I mean,
I'm
just
out of honesty.
I just want to ask questions because like from my vantage point, like I know a lot of you guys, and I would take that invite too, and I would be excited to get the damn binder too. And I just feel like this was a calculated PR move to sway public opinion one way that just absolutely backlashed right in the administration's face. And I feel like you guys that were in the room are caught in the middle of this, and unwittingly. You didn't ask for this information. You didn't show up for this information. It was handed to you, and then you were walked out in front of a line of reporters. I think at some level, that has to be in the back of your mind, doesn't it?
Yes and no. I also think that we, as journalists and also the influencers who do have millions of followers, do have a responsibility to understand optics and to understand what holding up that binder looked like to the American people. And I will say, Chris, I specifically made sure not to stand in front of the cameras when I had this binder because, like I said, as soon as I got it, my first initial reaction was this information does not belong to me. It belongs to the American public, and I'm not going to do anything with it until after it is released to the American public. So I think that there's responsibility on both sides. These are a lot of my friends that were in this room as well, but I'm all about personal accountability, and I think that we should be held to that same standard as well of understanding the optics of this, quite frankly, right? So that's my view on that. Simultaneously, I do think this is a very it wasn't the smartest move by Bondi. It was very, and again, all of us who were handed binders were very shocked because we were like, what is this? What is going on? So that's my honest opinion on it. I've tried to navigate the situation and be as graceful as I can to everybody involved while still being truthful. So that is my takeaway from it, is if you are somebody with millions of followers who the American public does look to and does have influence, I think that you should understand the optics of a situation of this caliber simultaneously printing out binders with the Epstein files written in bold red on them and handing them out to people without the American public having access to this information. Also a very bad move.
Yeah, not a good look. And I hear you on personal accountability and optics. And I did take note of the people that went to that meeting that weren't in the picture. And that was one of the first observations I made is like, well, Savannah saw that press and said, nope. So,
I ran the other way.
I think you handled it with professionalism. I think there were some other people that could have handled it a little bit better. But I also, listen, if you're walking through the Oval Office and you're meeting Trump and the cabinet, I understand that you're probably floating through the Oval Office. So it's hard for me to judge because I don't know how I would react if I was in that same situation.
Exactly. And I think that regarding with, the people who were holding them up and smiling with them, I don't think it was a celebration of obviously the information in the binders, but more of, hey, transparency, accountability, it's finally coming. I think that people get really excited because, again, for decades, we've truly been dealing and fighting back against the deep state that has completely ignored us, that has kept this type of information away from us. And so now with the new admin, people get so excited. But again, I think one of the most important parts of journalism is like, hey, maybe we wait, maybe we make sure we know what's in something before we're holding it up, before we're promoting it. And that's the route that I tried to take. And again, I made the video that I did yesterday because I did see the narrative of people thinking that we were the only ones with access to the information and we were responsible to disseminating it to the public. And I wanted to clear that up immediately because I was like, no, this is going to be made public for everybody.
No, and I thought you handled it with professionalism in class, and it's got to be a whirlwind for you from being banned on social media for having a wild opinion to then being invited into the Oval Office by the President of the United States. That must have been an experience.
Oh, yeah. No, Chris, I wasn't banned for having a wild opinion. I was banned for getting retweeted by the president himself.
Fair.
So to go from getting retweeted by the president to shaking his hand in the Oval Office and then having to navigate, like you said, social media throughout both of these things has just been an absolute whirlwind. But overall, what I will say regarding this meeting is it was a net positive because this means that, and I said this too, I was like, if I'm getting invited, I truly was shocked. And so I'm like, if they're inviting me, that really means that they're looking for the journalists who have been on the ground, who have been overlooked, and they're really trying to bring them in and give them access to the upper levels of the administration. So it really meant a lot for me because I know how hard my friends have worked as well, being on the ground and just trying to be there on behalf of the American people. And sometimes it is a very thankless job. So I feel very excited for my fellow journalists who have been really putting in the work and have only, been ignored or even slandered by the mainstream media to finally have this opportunity.
And I also think you can make the argument that stirring up some anger when it comes to the Epstein files is a net positive. A lot of people have put their anger away on this issue, and getting the American public angry about it again could lead to positive outcomes.
Exactly, and that's the main takeaway from yesterday as well. They always say that all press is good press, and regarding this situation, the way that I'm looking at it is the American public is looking at the Epstein files again. It is relevant again. People want answers, and if anything, yesterday is just holding Pam Bondi's feet to the fire even more to release these files even faster.
Yeah, I'm with you. Savannah Hernandez, she's a fantastic investigative journalist. Sav, where can we keep up with you?
Go follow me on X. I regularly piss people off on that platform. Sav says, and here on the Chris Hand Radio Show, where I bring all of my exclusives.
She's one of the best. I love you, Sav. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, Savannah Hernandez. I like Savannah a lot. She's fantastic. At Sav_says. If you want to look at the Epstein files that they gave to everybody in the binders, there are downloadable editions on my Twitter page as well. At Chris Hand on Air. Just hop over to my timeline, scroll down a little bit. You'll see them. You can download them. You can view them at Chris Hand on Air. It's 10:56. Wow. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. What a beautiful day. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Big tech news today. Microsoft says it's ending Skype. It's going to focus more on Teams. Skype to be closing down May 5th. Users have 10 weeks to decide what they want to do with their account. Microsoft says Skype had 36 million users in 2023, but that's a long way from its peak of 300 million. So between now and May 5th, Skype users have the option to migrate all their contacts and chat data over to Teams. They can download their Skype data using the app's built-in export tool. Investigators in Santa Fe, New Mexico, trying to determine what killed Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog inside their home. They were found Wednesday afternoon, says Alex Stone.
Getting firm answers in Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths will likely mean waiting on toxicology test results, and those can take months, sometimes 3 months or longer. But those tests will answer if there were drugs in their bodies or carbon monoxide in their bloodstream. Until then, there can be theories, with carbon monoxide poisoning being one. The sheriff says nothing is indicating foul play.
Phase 1 of the tentative ceasefire between Israel and Hamas set to end this weekend. Egypt says officials from Israel, Qatar, and the U.S. started what they call intensive discussions on Phase 2. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House today. He's expected to sign a deal with President Trump.
They're going to be signing something today, according to the president, but it still sounds like that President Zelensky is trying to extract from President Trump security guarantees. That's been the big hang-up on the Ukrainian side. They want to get guarantees that the United States would be there to support Ukraine after a peace agreement, after the war ends, if they were threatened again by Russia.
ABC's Karen Travers. Metro Nashville police have surveillance video to help them track down a couple of Hermitage carjackers who punched a man in the face early yesterday morning, then took off with his car. Christopher Barrington telling Channel 4 he went into the 7-Eleven there on Central Pike. The robbers followed him to his car.
They just wanted the car. They didn't ask me for my wallet. They got my phone and they got my backpack. And they didn't care about my wallet. In the end, if I don't get any of that back, I have my life. And I'm okay, I'm not injured. So I'm grateful for that.
Going to be hard to find these guys. They were wearing hoodies, face masks. Police looking for Barrington's white Honda HR-V. No credible threat at Macon County Junior High School. That's the word this morning from the sheriff's office. A student searched and questioned at the school yesterday after the school resource officer learned of a threat. Then last night, detectives searched the student's home. Ultimately, they determined there was no credible threat. This comes after Greenbrier Middle School and the other two schools in Greenbrier placed on lockdown earlier this week after a bomb threat. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Thank you for watching the show, however you may be watching or listening. We're live on YouTube, Super Talk TV, as well as X. Hit like, hit subscribe, jump in the chat. We appreciate it. Phone lines are open, 615-737-9986. And we got so much more to cover. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Donald J. Trump, he's not letting the firestorm that was yesterday with Epstein and Bondi and the influencers distract him. This guy's the master of changing the narrative. And he's doing it currently with Zelensky, but he also did it earlier today with the news coming out that he's going to be signing an executive order making English the official language of the United States. You do understand this is going to make liberals' heads explode on all of the major news networks this evening. English will be the official language of the United States. Oh no. This is going to make them absolutely lose their mind. English will be our official language. This shouldn't have required an executive order.
It's so hateful.
It's what a bigot. No, listen, a lot of people are like, move on from Bondi, move on from Epstein. I think that story is absolutely fascinating. Everybody's like, stop whining. I'm not whining. I'm just interested. Another thing that's interesting right now, Zelensky down at the Capitol with Donald J. Trump. The U.S.-Ukraine mineral deal is a go.
With how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas. But we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military. And it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil and we have a lot of gas. We have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the ththings we do. This puts us in great shape.
So that's Donald Trump sitting next to Vladimir Zelensky in the White House, and Vladimir is still he's still wearing the same outfit that he always wears, which is embarrassing. But this was announced last night that the raw earth mineral deal is a go. Scott Bessent and Stephen Miller announcing that respectively on different news channels. Scott Bessent laid it out on Fox News that this was a go. The raw earth mineral deal, we're going to get an ROI on that Ukrainian investment.
I went to Kyiv 2 weeks ago and met with President Zelensky. Since then, we have struck a deal. Their governing council approved the deal last night. So I have an agreement from their economics minister. So the deal is done. President Zelensky is coming here to sign the deal tomorrow. So there is no more negotiation. There is nothing else. I'm sure President Zelensky and President Trump will have a wide-ranging discussion, but as far as the deal, it is complete, it is on paper, and the Ukrainian government has approved it. It is just awaiting the signature of the two heads of state tomorrow, and it is a deal on strategic minerals, oil and gas, and infrastructure assets. And it's really a win-win because it brings the Ukrainian people and the American business community closer together. It shows the American people that there is upside here for them, that we have not squandered the money because the American people are always concerned about overseas interventions, that there's a lot of corruption. So this deal takes out the possibility of any corruption using Americans' best practices. So I think it's very exciting. President Trump is going to be the first president ever to create assets for the American people rather than debt.
President Trump is going to be the first American president ever to create assets rather than debt. I love it. Listen, we don't want to be funding the Ukrainian war. We have to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. So let's get something in return. And let's actually have a stake in the fight, right? And this will bring peace. This will bring peace. Trump was talking about it a little while ago. They're going to be signing the agreement later this afternoon. Zelensky is in the White House, and it sounds like this.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine. And we've been working very hard, very close. And we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time. And
you ever see the meme where it's the scene from Home Alone, but instead of Macaulay Culkin, they changed it to Vladimir Zelensky?
No, I haven't, but that sounds awesome.
I've known him for a long time, ever since I showed him where to go in that hotel.
and dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States. And we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal. But we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. On both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers. And
I always love how Trump does that. When he's negotiating peace, he always talks about the lives lost on both sides. And he doesn't go into the classic, oh, Russia's a bad guy, Ukraine is a good guy, so we need to support Ukraine like so many other politicians do. That's not how you negotiate peace. You actually create more hostility by dehumanizing the enemy. Donald Trump is always in the position of humanizing the enemy. And I think it's how his strategy is always so much better than what we've seen in the past in America. Now, to be fair, Vladimir Zelensky does look like he's in a hostage video during this conversation. He's sitting there with he's looking rather glum, if you will, rather glum, and his hands folded, and he knows he's not going to be president of Ukraine much longer, right? I think that the writing is on the wall for that. And this peace deal is going to be the beginning of Vladimir Zelensky leaving that position of power. You know, he didn't hold elections because they were at war. You can absolutely make the argument that Zelensky's a dictator. And Trump, you can make the argument, is the best negotiator we've ever seen on the world stage. Ever. This guy brings peace and pushes for peace like no other.
we want to see it stop, and we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever.
Which is just insane. The Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't have an open line of communication with Russia. That is mind-blowing. You have individuals being thrown into essentially a meat grinder in Eastern Europe, losing over 1 million people at a war that never should have started and wouldn't have started if Trump was in office. And Biden didn't even have a line of communication open. Biden actually did the opposite. You know, we all understand that he sent Boris Johnson down there to crush a peace deal. Biden didn't give a damn. Biden had us on the edge of World War III. I heard Jasmine Crockett the other day saying, oh, what Trump is doing is going to put us on the edge of World War III. It's like, what are you talking about? And where was that energy the last 4 years? 3 years with this war. It's insane.
They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened.
Facts.
We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters. And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting or we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you.
I mean, Trump, he's the president of peace. I don't know how you can slice it any other way. He is the greatest negotiator we've seen in foreign policy, and I don't know if there's anybody better. I was going to say in my lifetime, and I feel like you could stretch it back even further. Who else is better than this guy negotiating on the world stage? And he's negotiating for peace. I love it, man. I'm here for it. I really am. That agreement's going to be signed later this afternoon. There was a lot of talk about this yesterday as well, while the UK Prime Minister was in there. And the UK Prime Minister, that was interesting. Did you see him and J.D. Vance going back and forth about free speech? Oh, my gosh.
I like the part where Trump turns to the prime minister and says, you don't agree with that?
Oh, my gosh. This may be, like, with the news cycle currently, right? I don't want this to get lost in the fray because the main stories today are going to be the Epstein binder blunder, right? And it's going to be the Russia-Ukraine, or excuse me, the Ukraine-U.S. rare earth mineral deal. Those are going to be your biggest stories. And then, the liberals will melt down about something mean that Trump did at some point, I'm sure. But this is going to get lost in the fray if we don't highlight it. And I want to highlight it. J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference, he called out the European leaders to their face for being anti-free speech. And while he's in the White House with Trump and Keir Starmer, who's the Prime Minister of England, it gets brought up by a reporter, and JD doesn't back down.
In his remarks at the Munich Security Conference, Vice President Vance condemned free speech violations in the UK, particularly. Could you respond? What is your message?
I have an idea. We have the man right here. Come on. Let's go, JD. We're putting you on stage.
Great. Yeah, look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies. But we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension, American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would argue free speech in the UK is only history at this point. And you can point to many, many cases, silently praying in front of an abortion clinic. Oh, that'll get you right to jail immediately without hesitation.
Right to jail, right away.
Yep. And then he says, "Oh, we've had free speech for a long time." It's like, really? Because like a quick internet search will yield you videos like this.
Went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
20 months imprisonment for a Facebook post. We have a long history of free speech in the UK, says Keir Starmer.
You sure about that?
Nah, honestly.
Well, the key word there is history.
That's what I said. Let's underline, bold, and italicize history.
Yeah.
It's just...
I love it when Trump turns to Starmer and says, you don't agree with that? I mean, this man is negotiating right in front of the world.
It's unbelievable. It is truly something to watch. Missteps and all yesterday with the binder blunder. We are witnessing something truly special happening here in this country. And I'm just glad to be alive for it. What a time to be alive. Dan said something to me, or not to me, but on his show, and I felt like it was to me because I was listening.
Yeah.
That's the feeling you get with Mandis. Like, he's talking right to me.
That's right.
He's hitting me in my soul. He's like, good friends call out their friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mandis, that's such a good line. You got to call out your friends or you're not a friend at all.
Right.
And when we see our friends across the pond, sending people to jail for a Facebook post longer, a Facebook post about, Pakistani grooming gangs, which are rape gangs, raping minors in England. You go to jail longer for calling that out on Facebook than you do for the actual raping. Yeah, I think you need to call out your friends. And yeah, that means your free speech is long gone. The state of the UK right now is abysmal. Abysmal. You think we have problems? No.
Throwing people in jail for Facebook posts.
Yeah. And then they eat beans and toast. It's disgusting. There's so much wrong with that country. It's just mountains of things that could be improved. Just letting you know. We got a lot to cover. There's some updates on the border. I want to bring you Tom Holman and ICE signing a brand new contract. I'll talk to you about that when we return. It's 11:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. If you need waterproofing, foundation repair, or concrete leveling, you need to call the best. You need to call USS. And with these large home repairs, we pretend we don't see them, right? Like you might see that crack in your foundation, but you're like, I'm looking past it. That's nothing. That nothing could turn into something very, very quick if you ignore it. You need to call the best. You need to call USS. Now, when you call these guys, you're not going to get a sales guy who has a quota coming to your house trying to upsell you on the next big thing. They have no problem telling you if it's a small fix. This is why they have over 30,000 satisfied customers. This is why they've been able to stay in business since 1994. They're going to come to your home, create a custom solution for you with whatever ails your home, whether it's waterproofing, foundation repair, or concrete leveling. You need to call USS. These are the guys homeowners trust. They'll come up with a custom plan for you, and then when they won't leave until the job is done, and when they leave, the warranty stays for life, even if you leave the home. That's how confident the guys at USS are in their work. 615-488-7855. They guarantee their best. They're USS. 615-488-7855. Online at USSTN.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
1128 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I saw Mason had this blank look on his face. I thought maybe the computer froze, so I just jumped right in.
You did the right thing.
I'm just going for it. I'm going for it.
So I was looking at the board, and we got ads. We got stuff that I want to make sure is timed out properly.
Listen, I know Ken is the master of the tease, but sometimes we don't want to tease. We just want to get right to it.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
So
I was anxious. I was ready for it. I was here for Ken's cast, but I jumped the gun because I can't do math.
Donald Trump at his meeting with Zelensky talking about how he wants to be remembered.
I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war.
He's not wrong. President Trump, the president of peace. Also, Abraham Accords 2.0 on deck. Have you heard those rumors? I'll tell you about them when we get back. The president of peace striking again. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories on this beautiful Friday. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has arrived at the White House to finalize a minerals deal, which is part of President Trump's efforts to end Russia's war there. English has the official U.S. language. President Trump says he's going to make it that way with an executive order. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau says more than 3/4 of Americans speak only English, but more than 350 languages are spoken here. It's unclear when Trump will sign that order. A Mexican cartel kingpin to appear in a Brooklyn courtroom today to face drug trafficking charges, part of Mexico's effort to avoid tariffs. Lindsay Tuckman's outside the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse.
Now, Quintero was released from a Mexican prison back in 2013, but then in 2018, he was added to the FBI's most wanted list for being involved with the very dangerous Sinaloa drug cartel. Now, 28 others were extradited as part of this major extradition. This comes amidst the Trump administration's push to curb Mexico's cartel activity, and less than a week before the U.S. is set to impose those tariffs.
The number of West Texas measles infections is growing. So is the number of vaccinations.
Texas law requires children entering public school to be vaccinated against measles, but it also allows parents to refuse the shot for their kids. While West Texas has some of the highest rates of non-vaccination in the country,
we are seeing an increase in our vaccination numbers.
Lubbock Public Health Director Catherine Wells says 50 kids got their shots at a measles clinic Thursday.
11 of them had previous exemptions.
Their parents having had a change of heart.
So the infections there has grown to 142, 1 death, 20 hospitalizations. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, the Federal Reserve's preferred measure of inflation, rose 0.3% from December to January, 2.6% from 1 year ago. Both numbers track with what analysts were anticipating. Even as prices were rising, so were wages. The Commerce Department says personal income increased 0.9% last month. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 11:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We've had a fantastic February at the Glock store with 2-for-1 shooting sessions. And today, my friends, is your last day to book a 2-for-1 shooting session at the Glock store. All you got to do is go to shoot270.com. And then when you get there, mention my name, Chris Hand, and they'll knock that price in half for you. 2 shooters for the price of 1. Get in a date night with the wife and do it at the Glock store. You're both going to have a fantastic time. Now, this isn't a lane range. You're not going to be shooting next to a stranger. You're going into a private room with a personal instructor, and they'll tailor the experience to your shooting level. They can do it for beginners. They can do it for intermediates, even experts. They do it all at the Glock store, and you're going to actually shoot less and learn more every single time. You're walking out more confident than when you walked in. This is a private shooting room with a personal instructor at my place to train, the Glock store. Book your session today, shoot270.com, and mention my name when you get in there, Chris Hand, and they'll knock that price in half for you. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, the Glock store, online. Book your session, shoot270.com. It's 11:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. This is the Chris Hand Show, brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I hope to see you guys at the Nashville Palace, March 4th, joint session of Congress. DJT, he's going to be giving a big, beautiful speech, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, we want you to join us at the Nashville Palace. Tickets are available at 997WTN.com. Get yourself access to a buffet, reserved seating, and some drink tickets. It's gonna be a blast. The whole squad is rolling out. WTN is rolling deep to this party. It's gonna be myself, Mandis, Murphy, Benson, Wilson, Weaver, Jones. It's gonna be wild. You big hype? I'm big hype. And I want to see you out here. We have the best listeners in the world, and we haven't seen you guys since election night. So please join us out there. Again, tickets at 997WTN.com. So this is how you know we have the best listeners. We got the best listeners, the best, just simply the best. You guys crowdsource for me throughout my whole show, and if I miss something, you guys are right there for me, either on the text line or in the YouTube chat. You're always there, and. My friend 4460 pointed this out, and I missed it, but I made fun of Zelensky's stupid green shirt that he always wears. He always looks like an idiot. Like, we send all these billions of dollars, but he never buys a new outfit. He buys properties all over the world, but he doesn't buy a new outfit. And 4460 said, "Did you hear what Trump said to Zelensky when he greeted him at the White House?" I said, "No, I didn't see that." He sent me a screenshot, and I said, "Oh gosh, I got to find this video." Listen closely to what. So this is Trump is outside, and Zelensky's getting out of his car, and he's welcoming him in. Okay, so this is painting the scene. You know when he greets those world leaders, like when he shakes Macron's hand and rips his arm out of the socket. You know, like this is that same area. So he's welcoming Zelensky to the White House.
Pretty close.
Did you hear that? He walks up and he goes, "Oh, you're all dressed up today."
Pretty close.
Oh, you really showed up for the occasion. Wow.
Who knew that a man that is such a savage is welcoming a guy to forge peace? He said, "You're all dressed up today."
Oh, you wore your nicer sweater today. Cool.
Pretty close.
Look at you. You're all dressed up today. He said, "Yes, I had to. I had to, Mr. President."
Didn't even bother to wear a suit and tie. Just. This clip right here is going to live rent free in my head all day.
Pretty close.
Without even seeing the video, I could see Trump's expression just clearly.
Look at you. You're all dressed up today. And all 4'8" of Zelensky's like, "Yes, I had to."
Dude, you ought to see what's going on right now. I'm recording it right now. Zelensky and J.D. Vance are getting into it.
Really?
In the Oval Office.
Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I'm.
Macy,
I can pull it up.
Macy's going to pull it up.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
Not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm not playing cards.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
What a beast.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
Oh.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, you said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October.
Oh,
Offer
my
some
gosh.
words of appreciation for the United States of
you speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
We are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thank you
alone.
in this cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and
voted
you
for
men
your
are brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I
Oh my
heard it
gosh.
from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong.
Oh,
we
my
know that you're
gosh.
wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men
Amen.
stop getting killed.
Of course, we want
Amen.
to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with, that
this
was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your
Biden
president.
getting hit
Excuse me.
with strays.
That was with Obama, who gave you sheets. and I
Obama
gave
getting
you
hit with
javelins.
strays.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Martin.
Whoa.
Vice President. I'm sorry.
Shout out to Ken Weaver for the assist, spotting that happening in real time.
Dude, I was following that along, and I started getting an alert. The BBC actually came up with an alert that said Zelensky told he is disrespectful. Started watching the animation, and I thought, I got to tell Brother Chris.
Thank you. Let's listen back in.
Why did they break it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
Amen.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam.
Hunter
Hillary
catching
Clinton,
strays.
Shifty Adam Schiff.
Oh,
It was a
Schiff
Democrat
catching strays.
Scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But
Bush
he didn't
catching
break it
strays.
with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Remarkable.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
That is the most remarkable thing I have seen in my 41 year career.
Oh my gosh. Mario on the text line with the best text. Headline, Trump hands Zelensky his ass. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Somewhere right now, Matt Murphy, his jimmies have been rustled and his almonds have been activated. He's going to be going in on this come 3 o'clock.
Wow.
That is unbelievable. We'll be covering this all day long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN right now. 11:49, we'll check in with Chad Benson when we return right here on Super Talk.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
It's 11:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. That 5 minutes that just happened between Trump and Zelensky was wild.
That's an understatement for sure.
you know who enjoyed that last 5 to 10 minute exchange the most out of anybody in the country?
I do.
It's Pam Bondi.
Yep.
Pam Bondi is like, thank you, Mr. President.
There is a new top story, baby.
Unbelievable. I didn't know that you were allowed to take a grown man's pants down in the Oval Office and spank him in front of the press, but that's what we saw happen there.
I was telling Ken off air, I was like, Zelensky looks like a kid that just got caught in trouble with his hand in the cookie jar and is being berated for it. That was unbelievable. Just to take it back a second. This is how it started.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean.
Oh, you have a nice ocean.
And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
you're
in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
I'm not
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
even
entire
today,
meeting, you said thank
even
you.
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
It was an unbelievable exchange. You went to Pennsylvania in October. Weren't they signing missiles, Josh Shapiro and Zelensky, like putting their little John Hancock on missiles? And you haven't even said thank you to us? Chad Benson's in studio.
So surreal.
Initial reaction to that exchange, Chad.
Belle and I were laughing. We're like, oh my God. And then the part where the lady asked a question, what if the ceasefire broke? He goes, ceasefire, schmeasefire. He goes, what if a bomb drops on your head right now? And I'm like, sometimes it's like arguing with a 7-year-old. It's surreal. It was surreal.
It's unbelievable.
It was like everybody's texting me to, dude, are you watching? I'm like, I'm watching it. It is just, it's interesting. Now let's, hey, if I'm Putin today, I'm dancing. You might as well just give us all of Ukraine.
I mean, it seems like we don't really want to help Zelensky anymore.
No.
Does the deal get signed later today after this exchange?
No.
The rare earth mineral deal?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what's in that deal because it's changed from so many times. I didn't, is he just going to have him sign a blank piece of paper? We'll fill it in later.
Yeah, you sign here.
I have no idea.
It's unbelievable.
Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking.
I haven't heard him say anything.
I answer? You've done enough. You have done enough.
Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this.
Unbelievable.
You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful.
From the very beginning of the war, we've been alone, he says. From the when has Ukraine been? I remember everybody putting the little Facebook profile picture with the Ukrainian flag
they haven't
on.
had. It's not like they've went and gotten other soldiers that have come over there. They haven't got North Koreans to kill.
We've been alone.
Well, no, you've had a lot of support. Moral support, though, is a little different. Dude, you can do it.
Well, and there's also been
a lot
assets.
of money.
There's and assets on the ground training those soldiers. Let's not beat around the bush. We definitely have some intel ops going on the front lines, helping those guys out.
And we took a bunch of stuff over there in practice.
This is a proxy war. It's been us versus Russia via proxy the entire time. We haven't had any help. We've been alone. Okay.
You've been alone with about $1 gazillion. And by the way, Europe has thrown some money in there, too. It's not like you've been completely alone. No. And Poland took a lot of your people.
Yeah.
I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
No, you know what? I said that from the beginning. If there was no help from anybody, they would have been done for. And then the question would have been, would he have gotten squirrely and jumped somewhere else where we would all had to got into the game?
Unbelievable. Chad Benson is coming in next. What are you going to be talking about on the show? Obviously, this is going to be the breaking news story of the day. What else are you focused on?
You know what? I'm going to focus a little bit on this. We'll talk a little bit about the Epstein stuff, too, because that was just the whole thing was a mess. But obviously, this is a big deal right here. This is crazy. We have some fun stuff, too, we'll talk about. But surreal. It's like, say something. No, don't say anything.
You've
Shut up.
said enough.
And then, then you've got, J.D. Vance comes in and he says something hard, but then he kind of like, he's good cop, bad cop.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you're right. You didn't say, but you know what? Let's get down to business. And then Trump will be like, you're a jerk. You're horrible. Your people are stupid.
It's like, JD's like, I'm not going to hit him in with glasses. And Trump's like, I'll kick him in the balls.
Yeah. Take his glasses off and hit him.
It's unbelievable. All right. I love that. Biggest winner from that exchange, one Pam Bondi.
Yeah. Oh, God, no doubt.
She came out of that exchange as the big winner. There's no denying that.
That was such a debacle yesterday.
Unbelievable.
Could you guys have done? You were worse than Geraldo with the safe of Capone.
Benson's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.